Welcome back to the Minor League. It's me, Tolly here, with some more North American action. We just finished with Europe, but I need to remind you folks at home because it's time to get spooky. Halloween is right around the corner. Get your mirror, get your outwash skins, and to join me now for North American SMITE Minor League, it is going to be zeros, but we got to take a look at the European standings. Flashpoint up against Simplicity. Did it go as you expected to?
Yeah, I probably thought it'd be a bit closer, but I think experiences come into show here, right? Simplicity has so many veteran players, and when it really matters, they turn up, and Flashpoint just didn't. Yeah,
like Maniac and Fails had a fantastic game. Simplicity are basically locked in Out Cold Gaming. If they could just win one more, they will join Simplicity at the High Res Expo. But now, towards North America now as we start our third set of the day in the Minor League. It is going to be Exilium up against Hype Unit to start things off. It is also a very close three-way race between Sanguine, Armada, and Hype Unit.
Yeah, very important game for Hype Unit here to win this, to stay in the top 3, right? Or possibly get the top 2.
It's the very last set as well, so if they can win this one, they will be guaranteed at this one. And out of these players here, I have to ask you, Zeros, I know you're familiar with molluskk, right?
Yep.
Playing against him in phase number 1. How is it like to face him in the jungle?
I don't really remember. That was a long time ago now, but I mean, I guess it was fine. He did get replaced by Laspra, I guess, so...
Yes.
I'm not sure. The guy I want to watch in this set is DayToRemeber on the Sun Wukong ADC. I would assume that would get banned away, but he is absolutely popping off on that pick the last 2 times he played, I think.
Well, he's going to be up against sBennyQ out of Hype Unit in that long lane. What do you know about sBennyQ? You've been playing some North America ranked, right? Have you ever faced the Bennyster?
I have, for sure. The problem with North America ranked is like, I played it for a bit, yeah, but I mixed up all these players, man. Like, I don't know, like, I know I played against it, but I don't know who is who. Like, Pigon, sBennyQ.
He's a very creative player for sure, so we'll see how creative all of Hype Unit could get in the picks and bans. Let's go straight into it there. On the line at High Res Expo is Hype Unit's very last set, and Exilium is a team that when you looked at the standings, they don't look like a very strong team, only being at 2-7. And in the past before Zeros, during Season 3 in Cringe Crew days, you were considered the underdog team, right?
Yeah.
So what's it like to be the underdog in this game?
Thing is, when we were the underdogs, we still had a chance to make HRX and that kind of stuff, right? But like, this team doesn't really have anything to fight for now, I guess. But I mean, it's always good to be underdog, in my opinion. I love that. Haven't been for a couple of years now, but like, I remember back in the Fnatic and SK days, we were underdogs a lot, and like, I prefer that.
Does it give you more fire and fuel when you go against like the teams that are expected to win, or is it more of like you have nothing to lose that gives you that edge?
Both, honestly, because like you want to show people that we can play with the best, you know, but also like this kind of, if you do lose and like you feed your brains out, like there's no pressure on you. People don't expect you to win anyway, so.
So looking at the bans now, Hype Unit banning away some global pressure gods like the Ratatasker, the Thor, and the high pressure melee unit of the set, while Exilium banning away some mages, Oleron, Thoth, and the Horus. But look at these strong, powerful picks that got through.
Persephone just took her first loss in the last game we saw, so not undefeated anymore, but probably still the best god in the game, or like up there at least.
Would you give up Persephone if you were to get Isis in response? Do you think that's a good matchup?
No, I wouldn't. Isis is really good, but I just think Persephone is on another level.
I like the Thoth pick before in the last set where it was, what was it, Death Panter up against Caspanify. It didn't look like he struggled in that matchup, but now Exilium banning it away.
Yeah. I think he did lose pressure, right? He was like forced under his tower and stuff, but I feel like his team was just winning, so like he didn't really need to do that much, so I don't know, man.
So Osiris now locked in for Hype Unit against the Amaterasu. Are we expecting a very aggressive solo lane matchup here?
I would assume so, but then again with Amaterasu, we've seen her in jungle a couple of times. Don't love her in the jungle, but you never know. Like, say she has a terrible matchup against Osiris, they might just decide, okay, let's put her in the jungle and get a good matchup against Osiris instead.
And now, as we're rounding up the bans here, still more global jungler stripped away. Thanatos is an interesting ban when it's on Hype Unit side, because it's Exilium that have the Khepri, and normally wouldn't you want that execute? But I guess you already have
Yeah,
Susano.
you already have the Susano, unless they're looking to play Thanatos support or something, which is pretty popular in ranked, so who knows these days.
You can never forget about the Season 2 Dirty Bubble days, right?
Oh, yeah.
The tank Thanatos. But there's also going to be a tank support Serqet now, looking for some of these jungle invades. Is that where we're expecting the Serqet to go?
Yeah, I suppose that there must be Serqet. I mean, you don't really... Yeah, it must be Serqet support, actually. There's no way this is Susano support. Don't love the Serqet pick against Khepri though. She's very single target oriented. Khepri denies that perfectly with his ultimate, so...
Look at the teamfight potential from Exilium now with his Hunt Batz, a Fear No Evil, and the Wild Hunt from Cernunnos. Do you like Exilium's draft more than hype units? How are you leaning here?
I mean, they have Persephone, and I think Khepri kind of denies what Serqet want to do, so I do prefer their draft, but I wanted to see some Wukong, man. Why is this a Cernunnos here?
I'm a little surprised to see the Cernunnos here as well. A lot of different beasts and animals here. The late game idea of the Amaterasu, is that going to outweigh the pick potential from hype units draft?
Yeah, I think if they get to team fighting stage, I definitely think they have the stronger draft there.
Thank you so much, Sarah. So, well, let's go ahead and throw it to the casters for game 1.
Thanks, Anatoly. Looking good in the Tier 1 seat zeros as well. It's Finch and Aggro as we move into set number 3, game number 1. Exilium up against Hype Unit. And you heard Toly talking about it. This is Hype Unit's last set, so they do need to go ahead and get this win, improve their standings as much as possible to compete with Armada and Sanguine.
Yeah, man, it's not looking great right now for Hype Unit, I would say, just because of that loss last week to Sanguine, especially the fashion that it happened, clean 2-0 for the boys of Sanguine. But still got to feel like, you know, you got to take care of business here. Exilium should be a very good matchup for Hype Unit. I think Exilium has really struggled with their early game. Hype Unit is usually excellent at that part of the game and pushing leads. I think that this is the type of matchup where Hype Unit should excel.
Gamma on Serqet support, though. That means he'll be down here trying to harass these junglers. Osath comes in as well to defend Kyrmi while he goes to work using that monkey bounce as the level 1 ability. After it got its changes a little while back, that is the way to go with you and bots. Pretty good clear speed as sops actually takes a decent amount of poke.
That is what Persephone does at this point in the game, is just poke you out really, really well. Out clears you if she wants to, kills you if she wants to. It's there's a reason that Persephone is the top pick in this game, and there were a lot of options available. I mean, Isis, Ama, and Persephone were all open, and it looked... I was very surprised Hype Unit didn't just snag Isis, Ama on the back end. That would have, I think, been a pretty much unbeatable draft, but decide to go a different direction. We'll see if that ends up biting them with Dishonored picking up that Ama.
It's a pretty sick draft that they've gotten for themselves on the side of Exilium. Really, it's only this Cernunnos that maybe you could have some question marks about, but even then, Cernunnos is a perfectly fine hunter, so I don't think you're going to be missing much as Kyrmi jumps in aggressively to 2, trying to see if they can lock down Gamma, but he still has Deathbane. Serqet quite good at escaping tight spots.
It's also not the best point to be fighting for Persephone in those regions, because at this point in the game in particular, especially without access to all of her abilities, she needs to be able to be pre-planned in where she's fighting. In that garden is where she's going to be able to do it. In the mid to late game, the ability to use Flourish is what can really separate you and be able to actually fight where you haven't pre-planned. It auto explodes into the next level and makes your next harvest into the next level. And so that's a really big deal, but right now, even if Osath finds that pluck, I don't know if either Sops or Gamma would have fallen.
You know, I want to ask about this Lightblade start for SBennyQ. As much as I was enjoying your description of how Persephone works, and I mean that,
yeah,
I just noticed this Lightblade, and I don't see this very often as the start. I am very much here for the school of thought that Boots 1 doesn't feel very good ever.
Sure.
Spend 500 gold for a little bit of movement speed, but, I mean, you're getting 10% attack speed, 5 power. I mean, I don't know if I hate this as a start.
It's just your power curve gets so weird from here, doesn't it?
Because you're not going to keep building into this, right?
Right away, at least.
No,
I mean,
not for like 2 items.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to go Boots, and then you're going to go something else. It'll probably be Devos, and then you'll get to this. The question is, because Curse Gauntlet also starts with 5 power, it also just has 7% lifesteal. Is 10% attack speed better than that little bit of lifesteal? And the answer is almost certainly yes.
Right.
But it's so important to get Devos as fast as possible. Is it so much better than to wait that 600 gold? I don't think it is.
And that really becomes the question. Kyrmi does at least defend the red buff despite it being under siege, but he can't defend his life. Kyrmi is in some trouble. He's still being chased by Gamma, but Gamma just barely does not have enough to lock him down. Kyrmi makes it out of there, and they will lose the purple.
And even though Gamma doesn't find First Blood, he didn't find Speed Buff, he didn't even find Backs, he's still done the job of this invade strat, which is to harass Kyrmi and set him behind. He made him share speed buff XP, made him delay clearing backs, and molluskk is now off to a lead in that XP department by a noticeable margin, about 50 XP per minute more than what Kyrmi has. So even though it hasn't been resulting in a kill yet, Gamma's done his job.
And Serqet's one of those gods that can comfortably skip out on the Guardian's Blessing. That's why we see the Talaria boots there. You don't always have to go Talaria, though. I think it makes some sense. All that extra increased movement speed in MP5 is certainly nice. So, you know, early Warrior Tabi is hello. RussianPapi found himself a solo kill for first blood on Dishonored.
Dishonored just hadn't backed yet, and RussianPapi backed, bot full into Tabi, came back to base, and Dishonored made the mistake of getting caught in a spot where he can get fought.
That's not so bad, yeah.
That is a classic solo lane play, being able to back, buy your power spike item, and take a fight before the enemy can back. I mean, that's totally could tell you about that all the way long ago in Season 0. That has been around for a long time.
Well, there's a certain point where if you can find that timing, the other solo laner doesn't just want to back, you know, in your face. You won't let them. They'll miss farm, even with a teleport to come back in. So there can be that sort of arms race where if you can find the back timing first, you can pressure them out a good bit. And Dishonored falls to it on the right-hand side. And yeah, if we've got the replay, they were just letting me know they might have it in the back. Certainly wouldn't be a bad time to go back and take a look at how Dishonored took that early spill.
I mean, RussianPapi on the Osiris, this is where you want that early pressure. And it looks like it was just a mistake here by Dishonored to be this close at all. You've got to know that he's got full boots, and Dishonored did not seem to be ready for it.
Well, I think I get the logic of it. He actually thought correctly that the Dazzling Offensive was enough. That's just a really sick flail that he's able to hit on the way back out. I don't know. With the Dazzling Offensive up, you're 100% right. You're never winning that trade. But I think like 7 times you make it out of there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, RussianPapi made 2 good plays. It was a nice spirit flail over the wall. Or not over the wall, but like over a long period of distance. And it was a great body block on the dash. So I guess at some point you make him have to make the play, and then you accept the outcome when he does.
Yeah, I think that seeing it now, I wouldn't beat up on Dishonored too much for that call, though he is going to be a bit behind there in that lane as a result of it, so it ends up being a bit rough for him as molluskk rejoins, ready to go aggressive. Bayroneri does not have much mana, but it's enough for Flourish. Spirit Ball and Typhoon would have been enough, but that's a Khepri that you let through on top of a Persephone and an Amaterasu, so they get to live there.
Yeah, that's a lot of gods that win a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And I still think Hyperion are favored for what it's worth because they're just the better team. But why make it so hard on yourself?
They did not take the easy route. No. That's for sure. This isn't even the scenic version. I mean,
this is the road less traveled by.
Yeah, this is off-roading basically. I mean, if an SPL team got this draft that Exilium have, they would be over. That coach would be getting dinner from the players that night. You know.
I'm gonna check back in with sBennyQ's build because. You fool, thinking that he wanted Devourer's Gauntlet. No, it's Aussie right away. And, you know, Aussie is an item that does kind of feel like, does Aussie really fit here? You always think to yourself, and I guess I have to because I need lifesteal, and it does so much. You just get it right away and skip out on the slow Devo gloves.
It's an option. I think it's made better by DayToRemeber also rushing Devos, which is also very unconventional. We see boots rush really happen early and often, and this is exactly where sBennyQ probably doesn't want to be without boots.
Very, very slow, but has plenty of backup coming in, so sBennyQ is able to reposition. Now without Dive Bomb, though, he might be a sitting duck. Kyrmi has to use a suboptimal Fear No Evil there to slow down Hype Unit's aggression. They still have 4 members here, but Bayroneri is low.
Gamma plucked in. Good circle of protection. Day has that beads to stay out of it, but still the red buff invade goes the way of Hype Unit. So a lot of ultimates tossed each way, but ultimately Hype Unit get what they wanted.
They certainly did. It looked like Exilium weren't quite sure how they wanted to defend there. They knew they wanted to defend. They were all there, and they were certainly looking at it, but it looks like they couldn't quite find their spot. As Bayroneri gets pulled back in, Typhoon from molluskk and sops over the wall. Spirit Ball, easy as you like, and they're going to get Osath as well. Make that 3 on the board for Hype Unit in total.
Kyrmi shouldn't count himself out of this engagement whatsoever. No ultimate for him. Stun just misses, so he's okay. Had purification beads anyways, but an odd decision by Exilium to just stand there and look at molluskk as he was trying to keep them busy, and eventually they just wait until his ultimate is back up and then they decide to engage, and that's the wrong call. Odd decision making there from Exilium.
And I think there's something to be said sometimes for slightly less experienced players or newer players, no one in this match that I'm meaning by it, but giving too much respect to your opponent. You give them credit for hitting everything, you know, instead of making them hit some stuff. And Hype Unit are doing the opposite. Right now, they're saying that Exilium are not going to hit their stuff, and so far they've been right, man. Hype Unit have played And this is what we mean when we say disrespect. We don't mean that they don't respect the other team. We mean that you play really aggressive and force them to prove that they can land their shots. And so far, Exilium haven't.
Sops does end up getting away from that ultimate. Much like Daji, if you're CC immune at any point, that will break the vine. So he's able to get away from that, but still a good engagement by Osath and Bayroneri. Already has some CDR online, so not going to miss that ultimate too much in that downtime, I imagine. But I agree with you, Finch. I mean, it just feels like Hype Unit, the draft as well. I mean, you're not giving a team that you think is better than you these picks. You just aren't.
You definitely wouldn't. And now Osath stuck inside of the Suns. molluskk gets Bayroneri first, and Osath makes it out. Hold on to the Scarab's Blessing throughout all of that, and has it to keep himself alive. Gamma in some trouble. Deathbane allows him to reposition, and he somehow worms his way out of there. Now it's Typhoon to flatten Kyrmi. DayToRemeber in trouble as well. molluskk finds the double. And hey, until Exilium proves him wrong, I'm not going to be upset with Hype Unit.
No, they're playing well. molluskk is popping, man, and this is kind of the call it. Okay, fellas, I don't know. Okay, all right. Sops is here in full HP and has all. Now we're doing okay. I mean, this is what I expect from this Hype Unit squad. If they are good enough to come to land, which I think they are,
yeah.
They need to be able to do this to Exilium. Now, I don't know about giving them this draft, but at the end of the day, they got to play the game anyways. You don't win the game outright in picks and bans, though sometimes it feels like it.
I will just say that you shouldn't let them have it, because I feel very comfortable in it.
Yeah, I agree.
But moving beyond that, Hype Unit has played very well around it. It's the Ninja Tabi next for sBennyQ to follow up this Aussie. And and I'll tell you what, if they are planning to fight this often, they have been active in the early game. sBennyQ has rotated over. Maybe I could be persuaded by this Aussie because it doesn't have to wait on that Devil Glove power spike. DayToRemeber, though, dodging expertly around the ricochet, forcing the beads from sBennyQ and actually sending him on his way. Not bad at all there for Day.
Good jukes by him. sBennyQ was trying to play patiently and maybe catch the dash with that ricochet, but Day very, very seasoned in that lane, knows better than to overreact.
DayToRemeber has been around for a minute. Bayroneri ends up missing the grasp of death, and Sops walks right on out of there. He's avoiding this last flower in that third zone that chases him, and I think Sops is out.
He is. No blink for Osath, so he's out of there. I mean,
maybe
that
dash and a root, but no.
Should have been a kill for Bayroneri, but good jukes from Sops and just a missed ultimate.
Does Gamma have a Magi's Cloak already? He certainly does. They're going with a lot of cost-effective items that let them fight right now. It seems to be the call from Hype Unit.
molluskk taken out in the mid lane, and that is big for Kyrmi because that was a 4-0 level 11 Susano. Kyrmi just got a big bounty, and it's the exact character who needed it. He was so far behind.
Batz can work well when he's given a little bit more relevance back. RussianPapi's in some trouble, doesn't end up getting all the way locked down, so he makes it out of there. But Kyrmi was nearby, and Dishonored was looking aggressive. They might be able to catch him in between the Tier 1 and Tier 2. Kyrmi doesn't have Blink, so won't get the optimal Fear No Evil. Overhand smash is there, but doesn't find the Sacred Monkey Bounce that would have been enough to get that kill.
It's a little bit awkward, but no rotation coming over there. As Osath in trouble in the mid lane. Gets Scarab's Blessing off. Gamma doesn't have Last Breath available. Remember, he used that on the left-hand side. And a shell going to help out Osath. Bad Spirit Ball by Sops to make sure that he's out of there.
A couple of missed kills this last sequence. Dishonored here to get Osath away from Gamma as well. So these teams will start to fall right back. But this is what I'm talking about with these builds. If, oh my goodness, Spirit Ball blows up Bayroneri mid-ult, and he actually gets it back to try and take a shot posthumously, but even that won't be enough for the kill.
Sops doesn't even take too much damage on that dead portion of the Persephone. Definitely want to be using your plants as much as possible because it's the most confirmed damage you can have in that moment. So good job by him to play around it.
I know a couple days ago or so, you were talking about how much you wanted to get some Persephone games in.
Yeah.
Because she's always getting banned. Have you had a chance to get more in?
Yeah, spammed a couple casuals with her.
Yeah.
Just really tried to get my hands on the character because she's hard, man, and she's confusing and she's weird.
And that's what I wanted to ask. Bayroneri was having some trouble with that ult. I think it is deceptively tough up close to hit it. You really do kind of want the backboard, so to speak, to get that most value out of it.
Yeah, I think that trying to hit the player is a bit of a trap. You don't need to.
Right.
You really just need to put it on the wall next to them.
Okay, Sops with the turnaround Spirit Ball underneath the tier 1 for a solo kill. Even with 2 members watching, no one expected that. Bayroneri in some trouble now. Flourish allows for the reposition, but another perfect Spirit Ball for the triple kill as Osath falls as well. Sops making sure that everyone knows that Isis is indeed good.
Yeah, Bayroneri going, hey guys, maybe we should have taken the Isis instead of the Persephone. I don't know. I mean, it's looking like we might have messed this one up. 5-0-1 for Sops. Beasting
Listen,
right
it's
now.
a poor craftsman who blames his tools, all right?
Yeah, that is true.
Bayroneri. I'm just saying that. I mean, maybe he is better with the Isis here in this spot. I mean, I'm not so sure.
I mean, they clearly not, because they had the choice, right? I don't know. I mean, look, Persephone is different than every other mage in the entire game in the way she plays. And just because you're a good mage player, I do not think auto-qualifies you to being a good Persephone player.
That's a good use of the Aegis there from DayToRemeber, and he gets the Scarab's Blessing, which apparently he absolutely needed.
That was almost sick.
As SBennyQ finds the way to get that kill and proc the Scarab's Blessing there, and they turn that around. I mean, that was obviously SBennyQ feeling himself a bit. That dive was going to end in his death every single way. It's just a question of if he could take anyone with him.
Picks up the rage after his boots. I mean, look, SBennyQ, notorious for the builds, and usually not in a positive light.
Can you be notorious in a positive way? I think you'd have just said famous.
Yeah,
well
I guess
known.
that's I guess that's true. Notorious kind of has that negative connotation, but
just in case there was confusion, you meant it.
But
negative.
Vicky kind of changed that, right? Like now it's cool to be notorious.
Right, but I mean, like he was notorious for bad stuff.
Yeah, but that's cool, you know?
Yeah, he's notorious for his bad build. Is that cool? Is that
I don't think it's a 1-to-1 conversion on
Gotcha.
that. For sure. I mean, it covers a lot of bases early on, right? You've already got lifesteal, power, attack speed, pen, and crit.
Yeah.
Through 3 items.
That's pretty nuts.
That is pretty nuts. I don't know if it's good, though.
Well, Benny's like a healthy guy. He works out a lot. This is like weight training, right? Is to always have a less efficient build than everyone else, and to be going into better comps than what your comp is. It's like weight training.
The Rock Lee leg weight.
I assume so. Eventually, when they
analogy.
play good teams, they'll take off the weights of bad builds and bad drafts, and they'll be ready to go.
That would be really sick, actually, yes.
If that suddenly worked. Kyrmi forced out. It's another red buff invade successful for Hype Unit. And they've got control and no relics available for Day. This would not be the worst primal to pull.
Especially with that circle of protection ready to go. SBennyQ is going to eat a little bit of poke, but not a whole lot. Now remember, he doesn't have relics, so that is a concern if you're Hype Unit. I mean, Kyrmi, if he can find one Blink Ultimate on SBennyQ, will kill him.
Primal at half HP already. Bayroneri and Dishonored both stunned by one Spirit Ball. Fear No Evil comes out from Kyrmi as well, as he's quite low but makes his way out. They drop the objective. It's more about the fight as molluskk has Osath dead to rights in the jungle. Dead to rights in the jungle, thank you. And Osath goes down.
Dishonored on the run as well. Molluskk joins in and goes, yeah, I'd like to fire off a Typhoon from pig form. That sounds fun. Double kill for him as he continues to be an absolute terror in this game. 6-1 for him now.
He will indeed take the Primal Fury on the back of that one as well, as Hype Unit have done exactly what we expected here, which is look like the better team against Exilium so far. 8,500 gold, 11,000 experience. And like you said, for a team whose aspirations are to come to land, and not just come to land, but do well there, you expect them to be able to clean this one out, or to be able to play well.
And they've done it so far. I mean, nearly 10K in the lead. And it's not looking like it's slowing down because their mid to late game isn't terrible. I mean, you've got a late game Susano, you've got a late game Isis. Both of those do pretty well. Now on the other side, I mean, Khepri, Batz, Amaterasu in particular, it's tough, I think. That front line is solid for Exilium come late game, but I don't know if they're going to get there. I mean, molluskk is level 17 right now.
You know,
He's up 8 levels.
over the Khepri.
Yeah,
Osath,
over
yes.
over Osath.
That's
Sorry,
pretty brutal. Yeah.
That is absurd.
I mean, but that's being a support, I assume, right? You're just used to that. As Dishonored is now in trouble, gets the dash block,
Nice
but that's
ults.
a big ultra from Bayroneri to try and slow them down. Kyrmi would find a sick Fear No Evil on top, and this is not a bad fight here for Exilium at all. Catching Hype Unit, getting a bit over-aggressive.
That is what you need to do. Punish him when you get the opportunity. Molluskk got caught right there, grouping up, and a really good ultimate from Bayroneri.
That was pretty nuts as they turned that one around. I was having this discussion last night as Osath can't fight anybody anywhere, I almost don't know why he comes out. He's so far behind. They have Bayroneri trapped beside the Suns as well. I wanted to have my little discussion, but I don't get to if Sops' Spirit Ball keeps popping like that. Bayroneri does posthumously get the kill onto Sops. Credit over Dishonored for setting that one up, but this is still all hype unit.
Should be a tier 2 tower here if there's enough of a wave. Looks like only one archer. That does not qualify. Or 2. They were just standing on top of one another. That is not enough of a wave.
How much does it take to make a full-on wave?
That'd
If
be
just
6.
me and you did the wave, is that enough?
No, definitely not. In fact, that is the exact opposite of the wave. That is what we call depressing at a sporting event.
Oh no, no one else is following along.
I hate that, by the way.
If you're
Can I say that?
trying to force a wave and no one's into it,
hate it.
yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty biased because
Who has the clout to start a wave? Is
nobody, number one. And, well, actually, only children. Only children are
Okay.
allowed to start the wave. And even then, you do it, like, maybe I'll do it once to make you, as a
It
child,
sounds
feel
like you
okay.
hate even optimal waves, even if the
I
wave
do.
works.
No, it's
Pyromancer.
bad and lame. Don't do it.
Exilium ends up taking it. Are
Look,
we talking
man.
about the wave at sporting events still?
Yes,
Okay.
it's terrible. Look,
It's awesome. If everyone's doing it, that's
before
cool.
I came to high res and started casting SMITE,
Okay.
my job required me to be at a
that's
baseball
right.
stadium for every home game, and it was a
Forgot you're
great.
jaded
It was great.
and miserable.
But man, I sat through a lot of, post rain delay at 11:30 p.m. We're in the 3rd inning, and a guy in section 107 is trying to start the wave for all 500 people there, and I hate you. I can't stand you. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Dishonored in some trouble there on the right side. Wave does manage to get the Scarab's blessing onto him, so that gets him back out of there. Ultimate comes out from Bayroneri. That somehow finds nothing in all of that, and Sops deletes DayToRemeber. See you later, bud. You are out of here. Hype unit up 5v4.
Aegis was up for Day, but didn't fire it off in time. Sops is doing dummy damage. That's an actual number, by the way. It just translates to a
Super
lot.
dead is the way that I like to refer to that one. Well, that's two different things.
Yeah.
He was super dead because of the dummy damage.
Right, correct.
I think that tracks. Dishonored stunned yet again, so molluskk blinks in for the full. Typhoon not there, doesn't have it, and Fear No Evil punishes Sops. That's a big kill to take out this Isis and buy Exilium some time.
Kyrmi's actually pretty fat right now on this pick. I mean, 17, he's got a lot of farm on him, and he just crushed Sops in that fight. Really good use of that Hydra's Lament. Weaved the auto attacks in really, really nicely. Synergizes beautifully with Hunbat's passive, which is basically mini Hydra's Lament on those auto attacks after every single ability. And Sops didn't really respect it. Feeds straight into Circle of Protection still wasn't enough to save his life. Would have needed to use both relics if he had a hope.
Is that Toxic Blade there for Dishonored?
That is.
I don't know.
Hey, look at it this way.
I probably won't.
You're only super far behind as a team. And as a frontliner, usually that means that you die really easily. But this item has a little bit of health.
Well, you asked me at the beginning to look at it that way, and I
Please do.
considered it, but I didn't.
Yeah, look at Doug, dude. He's got the Berserker shield. That's 10% attack speed. Doug, hit me with the Ninja Tab Eye right after that. That is 25% attack speed. Now pop on over to that Toxic Blade one more time. You already know that's 30% attack speed. That's a lot. He's swinging, man.
Is there any way we can follow along with him and we could see where he's at? Yeah, switch on over so we
Let's
can.
see the attack speed.
Yeah, we'll be able to see it.
Oh, almost
1.8. Yeah, almost.
Almost 2, man. That's a lot. Yo, maybe pull fire here and solo it? Oh, no, you can't. That's fine.
Dishonored trying to make it work for him, but at this point, I don't know this attack speed focus build is going to be it. I'm also a bit surprised.
He saw Ice Baby's full damage attack speed Ama build and was
Right.
like, yo, can I get some of that?
Yeah, bring that over here, please. I mean, I also am not super worried about the healing. I mean, I know Circle of Protection is something worth considering.
Well, it's
There'll
really
be some
good when you
stay from the
auto-attack the
Osiris.
people inside the Circle of Protection.
Because that's where
It's
you want to be,
heal them.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure they can't get any healing back off. But Dishonored is in some trouble on the right-hand side, has the last breath there on top of him.
Auto-attack, maybe?
No, he's been stunned by the spear ball.
Didn't
no
even
way
anti-heal
he
him,
makes it
man.
back out of there. Instead, Dishonored takes a spill. It's Hype Unit that find one more pick and are in control to head back towards FG. I was going to ask the other way. Is Persephone enough healing to where you'd be thinking you need to get Divine Ruins and anti-healing against her?
Probably not.
Because it's mostly out of combat, I suppose,
Yeah,
right?
it's mostly out of combat. She's not getting a whole lot in the middle of the fight.
Well, there you go. Fire Giant in that time it took us to decide you don't have to worry about building anti-healing against Persephone. They've taken.
No surprise. Maybe SMITE's. Oh,
That's a sick ricochet from Benny.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you build, if you're going to hit ricochets like that, my man, that is pretty nuts, and we'll see you later to Bayroneri. Well, I guess not, because of Persephone passing.
You'll still see him later. It'll just be now that it starts. I mean, this one is pretty much wrapped up, I feel like, here, Finch. Hype unit.
Dude, I'd hope so. If this was close and we were talking about the stuff we were talking about, that's brutal. It better be wrapped up.
Yeah, this one's got a bow on it already. I mean, SMITE's rage is done. I mean, you already know what that means.
And he's working on that 12-point
Shuriken, maybe?
shuriken, so here comes the Fear No Evil to slow down the fight. Kyrmi's been hitting
Nice!
big ones. Dishonored takes down molluskk. Toxic Blade brings you that one. Spirit Ball finds him for a good bit of damage, but extra 100 health keeps him standing. The rest of Hype Unit, though, can't quite make their way into the mid-Phoenix, and they're sin running.
Now, I was worried that Dishonored's Kasari was going to turn into a Genji's Guard or an Oni Hunters to get him some extra tankiness.
But of course.
But those don't have attack speed. And I was like, Finch, that doesn't synergize with the rest of the build. But my man, coming in with another 20%.
You know he's over 2 now.
Courtesy of the Shogun's Kasari, he is definitely over 2 on the attack speed. Doug, let's go. 2.1 almost.
That's pretty nice. I can't believe Dishonored's not autoing around so I can see it.
No, please, auto the Pyromancer.
Yeah, so I can get a chance to see. Look at how
Oh my
fast.
goodness.
And the thing is, he doesn't need haste because he's got the movement speed from
Right.
his 1. It
Right.
like kind of makes up for that attack speed penalty. He's right
Dude,
there in him.
and all of those auto attacks hitting for 80 are going to come out so fast. That is so nuts.
I don't know, man. I don't hate it. As now Dishonored moves in looking for sops. Does find the stun. That half helped him because that's just how good Dazzling Offensive is. Dishonored now has a chance to loop around the back and look for some auto trades, but he melts too quickly underneath the tier 2 tower. Molluskk
way.
burns him.
Crazy that happened to that build. Bayroneri, super dead?
Yeah, I would call that one a super
Okay.
dead. SBennyQ is the one that gets the kill credit. Molluskk finds DayToRemeber. I'm going to go ahead and stand up so that I can be ready when we come to the camera shot.
Because it's going to be
this game's
soon?
over.
Yeah, because it's going to be really soon. Right, that makes sense to me. Yeah, that's a D aside. Yeah, the build was bad, Finch. And I don't think they're winning if that build is good, to be fair. But I know they aren't if the build is bad.
Mid-Phoenix can't do. I mean, this is 20 plus seconds. This game is over. I mean, Exilium, what adjustments can they make? I mean, they had a great draft coming into
Yeah,
this.
maybe
Look
get
great.
more OP picks.
Yeah, can you? You
That's
can't
not
get
possible.
Ama, Persephone, and Khepri again coming in the next game. I mean,
Maybe
you
you could add an Isis in there too. Maybe Hype Unit forget to pick it next time. Yeah, definitely don't give Sops Isis. That's for sure. Even if you are going to get Khepri, Ama, and Persephone, it's time to take Sops off that pick.
The thing is, I'm worried that Sops might just play to Persephone that well too, right? So you're kind of in a bit of a tough spot if you are Exilium. A lot for them to try and work on in between here as they start to look towards game 2, because right now, if you're Hype Unit, I don't think you're that worried about whatever it is they do next.
No, and now if I'm on Hype Unit, I go, oh, you want Ama? Is it going to be attack speed or? Oh, okay, yeah, you just have that one. And we'll
They'll
take
build
some other stuff.
some Nemeans or something like that, Mid-Guardians, right, to shut her down.
No way, man.
Not let
Need
that
a
value
Witchblade next time.
get off the ground. I'm being told that the desk is ready. No need for breaks. Let's get it back over to them.
Thank you, Finch. Thank you, Aggro. And Hype Unit continue to bring the hype as they really just dominate Exilium Gaming in game number 1. Zeros, what did you see this game?
I saw Isis that was hitting every spirit ball pretty much, and
Yeah.
it's kind of weird, right? Because like you see Persephone is so good, do we give her away? But it seems like Isis is just as good, probably. I don't know. It could also be the difference between the team that Hype Unit is just a better team. But it's interesting to see, like maybe more teams, even in SPL, we will see more of. You can give Persephone away if you get Isis in return.
Especially the way molluskk just played the Susano at the beginning of the game. It didn't allow the Persephone that freedom that you're expecting.
Yeah.
There was that 2-level lead where Persephone was level 7, Sops was level 9 on the Isis. Molluskk really brought this jungle game today.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing too, like it's hard to tell, is it really Persephone's fault or is it just like the whole team struggling, you know? Because you see like they were just so far behind in every role, and like here you see a solo kill coming out as well. That was pretty close though, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was well calculated coming through. I love that play from RussianPapi. They're really abusing Dishonored, and Sops had the game of like his life probably in this one here. molluskk doing good job on the Susano. I don't think Osath got very comfortable playing this Khepri either.
Yeah. as I said, like Hype Unit was just so far ahead in like every role pretty much. It made it so easy for them. Like they would pick fights at the enemy red buff and they would outnumber them anyway. So
It almost felt that, like, despite disrespecting Exilium in the draft, giving away the Persephone and the Amaterasu, they also disrespected them a little bit inside the game. It wasn't that clean, you were saying, behind the scenes.
yeah, for sure. Like I feel like they could have ended this game a lot earlier than they did. Like you see Hu Yi at some point jumped into a tier 2 tower and tried to get a kill 1v3 and die for it, and then molluskk got picked a couple of times. Like sure, they might be better than the team they're up against here, but I feel like if they go up against, if they qualify for the LAN and they go up against these better teams, they can't do that. If they get a lead early game, they need to make sure they can close it early, because like these kind of mistakes can make the enemy team come back into it, you know, and then.
And now on the flip side, if you're Exilium, what do you want to see out of them to change between games number 1 and 2 to play spoiler for Hype Unit, to deny their shot at Hyra's Expo?
Some Wukong ADC.
For DayToRemeber?
Yeah.
He's done it before. He had some good success there, right?
Yes, yes. It's been absolutely smashing every game he played it, I think. So I hope we get to see it next game.
And in this situation where you know you're not going to make Hyra's Expo, you might as well have a little bit of fun with it, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get into the picks and bans for game number 2. Exilium down 0-1. Hype Unit just need one more win to qualify for the placements towards Hyra's Expo. And what are you expecting to see out of Hype Unit during the picks and bans?
They probably just do something else. It doesn't seem like they're afraid of giving away strong picks in the meta to Exilium either. So like they probably just want to make sure they get at least one strong pick themselves. And then I don't think they care too much what the enemy team gets there.
Last time they banned away the Ratatasker, the Thor, and the Set. Afraid of the globals a little bit there. And knowing that they're against DayToRemeber, something that he does lean on from time to time is the Jingwei.
Oh yeah, oh that's more than I knew, but that makes sense. Jingwei, we saw a rise for her in SPL as well, but like she's just this safe hunter you can always play in duo lane, right? You can be against this aggressive mages like Thoth trying to bully you, but like with her passive, she just comes back and free farms, and then you have like a hyper carry ADC in the late game. So
what did you see from DayToRemeber in that last game playing the Cernunnos? Because that's a pick that we don't normally see often.
yeah, he played well, I think, but like then again, it's hard to say like the carries, because like the whole team is just getting dominated everywhere, you know. It's like, what are you really supposed to do? Like you can never go for a 1-on-1 because the enemy team's gonna be around the corner gank you, so it's just hard.
And now Hype Unit drafting the Set for their first pick. That's going to be a very aggressive pick, and we know that Hype Unit love to look for these early plays when Exilium kind of responding with some long-range artillery on the Thoth and some good mobility late game on the Ama.
Yeah, that's two really strong picks. Thoth, Amaterasu, perfect. Agni kind of weird. Some people love him, some people hate him. I'm kind of more to the hate side, I think.
How
like,
can you hate him though? Why
it's just, I feel like he's just too mediocre. Like he doesn't, he can do a lot, but I don't know. He's kind of predictable in what he does, in my opinion. And like, I don't like it too much. But if you're a really good Agni player, you can definitely make it work.
I think Agni can work if you have some great frontline aggression. And between Set and Erlang Shen, I think the Agni should be safe throwing those bombs, no?
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's just the thing, as I said, like, I feel like his damage is kind of predictable. Like the bombs come out, you have time to use your Aegis. You have a lot of time to like avoid his damage if it's with a movement ability or an Aegis or stuff like that. So that's kind of what I don't like about him. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, Exilium drafting the Serqet on top of the Amaterasu. Some good dive potential there. Serqet could still be supported with Amaterasu in that solo lane. So if you're Exilium, what jungler do you want to see here?
I mean, it could be the Serqet. It could also be the Amaterasu already. We never know, but I'm not sure. Athena.
Ooh, okay. So Athena, it could be Athena support, I guess, with Serqet in the jungle.
Yeah.
But Athena jungle with some magical power is not bad either.
It's really good. Like, Athena with Stone of Binding early, like Colan boost Stone of Binding, she does way more damage than you expected to. Like, she hits so hard. She can auto-cancel with reach with all her abilities, so yeah, for sure.
It scales with magical power. So we'll see where this Athena Serqet goes. But now, another mage that we don't normally see in competitive play. How does Hera pair up with the Agni? What are you expecting from Hype Unit's draft?
Oh yeah, that's kind of weird actually. There are two mages here. Oh yeah, I guess there's one mid and one... This makes sense though, because Agni, really good with Spear of Magus. And then you have the Hera, she's not good with the Monocrypt, but you still have something that shreds protection for your other mage, right? So it's not bad. And Hera has been on the rise lately, especially last week in SPL. We saw Moswald player, we saw Haruin. Venenu played it for sure. Haruin, I don't remember, but yeah, it's definitely on the rise.
Well, Hype Unit one game away from qualifying to the placements. Let's get it over to Finch and Aggro.
Thanks, Toli. Thank you, Zeros, as well, as we move into game number 2. Hype Unit didn't seem to struggle very much there in game number 1. We'll see if Exilium can slow them down at all here in game number 2. It is going to be the set for molluskk in the jungle with a full Ninja Tabite start. He must have waited a bit for this one to happen. And Osath already getting aggressive there onto sops. In fact, it's aggression everywhere as Kyrmi has started to move in on the red buff, and that pushes molluskk out even with the boots.
Yeah, but molluskk realizes, well, that means my speed is undefended right now, so I can go and snag that. I mean, Exilium, they go with the Wukong ADC. This has been popping as of late.
For Day.
The last 2 games that DayToRemeber has played this Wukong ADC, he has hard carried games. And that still breaks my brain. But it's happened, so maybe it'll happen again.
There's certainly a chance, man. sBennyQ is on the Chernobog this time. Already level 2. Can kind of hide inside the wall to get away from some damage. If he can fight near those walls, that gives him some strong boxing potential. The roots can be strong against the Sun Wukong too, but I don't know, man. Wukong is a bully in lane for a reason. He can bully in the solo lane sometimes too, so it's going to be tough for this Hunter matchup, I think.
I agree. I mean, Benny does have a bit more safety than most other hunters, so maybe he can end up surviving in this lane. It's really a matter of which off-kilter side lane is going to go better, I think, because then you've got RussianPapi over here on the Agni solo
weird,
lane.
Do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's normal. But this is a RussianPapi special. This really does call me back. I don't know if it was in SML games or if it's just seen it a lot in ranked, but he's played this pick before for sure. It's a god that he likes. The end. That's all I got.
Using the noxious fumes to kind of tick away at the wave, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this Agni definitely can work over there in the solo lane. Here's what I think. Agni's one of those gods that I always wish was on my team. He's just really, really good, I think. The stuns are sick. He can be really safe with that dash. He does so much damage. And so, you know, put him over here in the solo lane, especially against Amo. He's not going to have a ton of pressure early where he won't be in that much trouble. And then later on, you have an Agni in your team fights, and that's always just a good thing.
So you're telling me
I am. I said it already.
that if, let's say you didn't know it was me, I was under a different, I changed my name, you know,
Okay.
I was under the guise of a different name,
Okay.
and I picked Agni solo on your team.
Oh,
You'd be stoked about that?
no.
Well, that's what you said.
You know, I said that later on, I'm glad there's an Agni there, like 18 minutes into the game. You know what I mean? Like, you
Okay.
always are glad that an Agni's on your team.
Not always, because sometimes it's in the solo lane. You know?
Well, yeah, and that's not great. But later on, when he's past this, there's going to be an Agni on the team. And as long as I just see that part, I'm fine with it. You know
Oh,
what
okay.
I mean?
As long as you black out the first 20 minutes of the game.
Which you're going to have to, because there's an Agni in the solo lane. Kyrmi
Yeah,
in
but
trouble,
look
though.
at
This Agni is popping, by the way. Gamma finds first blood, and Kyrmi drops on the Serqet.
And Agni, he did have one bomb just in time, and certainly put it to good effect, I suppose. Yeah, this is an interesting strategy. It seems like he's just dropping Noxious Fumes and leaving it on the ground, because by the time, if you let Noxious Fumes go for its entire duration, it's basically back up as soon as you need it. I mean, it's a 10-second duration, 12-second cooldown, and that's before the CDR starts coming into play. So that'll be up all the time, and it's going to do some amount of damage.
Well, 10 times 10?
Yeah?
It's 100.
Yeah?
If you get every single tick on all of them.
And remember, you can't use any of your other buttons while it's on the ground.
Because you'll pop it early.
Right,
Yes.
and that won't do.
Well, I mean, but like you're saying, if you're rotating off to go do ton of coup, to go steal the blue buff, then that's that free damage that's happening, you know, while you're rotating away. So I'm right there with RussianPapi.
You think Agni would be OP if you got kind of, you know how with Jonqui card and you end it, you know, you rip it off with one of the other abilities, it does a percentage of its remaining damage.
Right.
You think Agni would be OP if he had that for Noxious Fumes?
No, we just talked about how much damage it is.
So you don't think it would be OP?
No, give it to him. I don't think that's that much damage, right, that we're talking about?
If it was all of it, I think it actually would be OP.
Yeah, because if he pops it instantly, well, he would do a percent of the remaining damage. So like, it would do a percentage of the 90 that's left, right?
Yeah, but adding like 80 base damage to an ability in the early game is a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what you're doing. I mean, it costs mana, but it's not a lot. It's
And you wouldn't get the full 80. You know, you'd be getting like 40.
sure, adding 40 at level 2 or whatever is a big deal.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Hidden Man started me on this God buffs and nerfs discussion in our first
I
set.
heard it. Yeah, it was
Did you
awful.
like it?
No.
Me neither. But I'm going to do it here
the
anyways.
ultimate charge, but gets interrupted by the polymorph over the wall. It's actually sick from sops to stop the big damage. But there's too many members of Exilium here. Dishonored finds first blood with the Ninja Tabe. Not first blood, but first for his team, at least here this game. And is able to start turning this one around.
Able to rotate over, out-rotating the Agni. Because that's somehow a thing. That was a really sick polymorph from Sops. Sops has been playing really well, man. I mean,
Yeah, yes.
used to be an ADC, moved over to mid, went back to ADC if memory serves, and now back to mid. And the meta favors ADCs in mid right now, but you still don't see that many from him. He's playing a lot of mages a lot of the time, it feels like, but when he goes back to the hunters, he looks comfortable. I think his god pool of the mages is still pretty big. I've been impressed with Sops' play this year. I think that he's been a big part of Hype Unit's success.
And I feel like we've been seeing a few more mages in mid this last week or so.
Yep.
Very, very recently. So I don't know. You know, if we're getting back to that, I still think hunters for their pressure in mid are good right now. It's just that some of those hunters have started to take a few hits lately, so maybe we're not seeing quite as many of them. But, you know, I would have thought you'd be happy to see mages back.
I am, man. It's this build. I think that really does it.
Sure.
Bayroneri gets CC chained, but Sops' buttons were not there and ready. But here comes SBennyQ with the rotation. Ultimate guarantees that combo. Nicely done on that.
That's interesting. Kind of doesn't matter how he matches up with the Sun Wukong if he's instead matching up with Bayroneri on a quick rotation over to the mid, so I like that.
Oh.
That's an interesting dash choice, but, I mean, what's Kyrmi going to do about it? He has to walk into the Path of Flames where the stun's waiting for him, and instead Kyrmi now in some trouble, has to leave. Dishonored can't find a stun with the Dazzling Offensive, and now he's in some trouble. He does not have any options. Dishonored melts Gamma and the rest of the squad, bring him down.
Final Judgment just barely misses molluskk. That looked like it was going to land for sure, but does look like a speed buff defense was confirmed there by Exilium. Still don't feel great about losing a couple members there to that pressure from Gamma and the boys.
And they're bringing Exilium down into ranked a little bit in this game, aren't they? And I don't know if Exilium are ready for that to have happened. Here's the blink into the taunt from Osath. But, yeah, that did not quite pan out. They had the Argus there waiting. This, though, will. Gamma brings brought back in, and Kyrmi does find a way to turn into a 1-for-1.
SBennyQ, though, good rotation once again. Still can't find that kill, but able to put out a whole lot of damage at this point for sure.
But doesn't it kind of feel like Hype Unit brought this down almost into a bit of a ranked mentality? Like,
oh yeah, this is ugly.
They're playing wherever they're playing whatever picks they want, whatever spots, taking random fights in the jungle, you know, without much rhyme or reason. It's all over the place, man. And Exilium, it doesn't feel like we're able to keep up with this pace right now. I mean, it's taxing. There's not a ton on the line for them personally, and for Hype Unit there is. And they're playing a match that's probably not how they prepped for it at all, as 2 Agni Bombs clear the blue buff. I mean, this has got to be a tough match for Exilium to try and play.
It is difficult whenever you just kind of get roped into this playstyle.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're on the back foot consistently, because this playstyle can transform pretty quickly into just outright pressure invading your buffs, and we're fighting you, and you won't be there. It's really because Gamma on this Erlang Shen is massive right now. That is the real problem, I think.
Erlang Shen certainly still strong in the support role, as Osath will make it out of here. Defender of Olympus back towards Kyrmi in mid. And not as much as Gamma's having a good game, it's feeling like Kyrmi has struggled in this Serqet. All the time I feel like we're watching Kyrmi back, or we're watching Kyrmi jump out with the ambush at low HP, and we're starting to see it bore out in the experience and the net worth as well.
This is exactly where Hype Unit want to be with this type of draft. I mean, they fight really, really well in the mid game. Their late game is going to struggle because they don't have a Guardian. They won't have a really sick front line. I mean, Gamma will be tanky enough to be a front liner, but still not ideal.
He'll be about it, I'd imagine. Stone cutting is what came out for molluskk here second, which just goes to show he's going to be looking to do some auto attacks, try and make up for some pen. Bayroneri does still have to stop the back, but Gold Fury is being started during all this, and I don't think Exilium recognized this should belong to Hype Unit pretty freely.
Nice job. I mean, that's classic SMITE. Get the lane pressure in left, get the lane pressure in mid, get the guaranteed objective. That was beautiful.
Dishonored rotating in behind RussianPapi here this time, so he should be able to catch up for a pretty nice Dazzling Offensive. Goes to the Silence first to try and stop all this aggression. Dazzling Offensive on the molluskk. Kyrmi gets one, Dishonored gets the second, and Exilium now starting to come alive a little bit as Hype Unit over-aggress in mid.
I mean, Gamma's taunt was really sick underneath that tower, but that's the problem. It's underneath the tower. feel like if Sops was ready for it, I don't know if he just wasn't prepared, it wasn't communicated, but had Argus ready, doesn't hit the double knock-up off of it. Pretty sure they get 2 kills instantly there. I like Gamma's initiation. I'm pretty sure that was on Sops for not being ready for it.
DayToRemeber was way more confident in how much damage he was going to take just now than I was, holding on to that ultimate until now. He will be able to get some much-needed sustain, and this is all a bait. Kyrmi waiting over the wall, and sBennyQ has very few options for escaping this one. Perfectly played by Day. It's just, just Galaxy Brain. He knew.
So ready for it, man. I mean, no one plays as much Wukong ADC as DayToRemeber. Don't you forget it.
That's right. If it comes down to calculating how many autos from a Hunter you can take at low HP early on in the game as a Sun Wukong, building Soul Leader, I doubt anyone knows more about it than him, honestly.
Isn't that kind of crazy that in the entire world, no one is as ready for that question as DayToRemeber?
That is crazy.
Like, he is the best in the world at exactly that.
Do we think like Gnarls Barkley crazy, or like dangling a kid out a window crazy? Like, which crazy are we saying?
Yeah, we're going a little bit more Gnarls Barkley on this one.
Okay, well then that's good.
I think it's cool, you know? And maybe not resume worthy.
Right, I wouldn't write that down.
No, but it is true, just objectively at this point.
Big
right?
facts, dude. And you know what? Nowadays, I don't know how important true even is, but it is true.
Good point.
For that he knows more than anyone else. This is a hype unit Pyromancer unless Bayroneri can pull off some magic with the Thoth. He has Final Judgment charged, but I don't think he had the information where the HP was. A little too late.
He did not, and RussianPapi there to secure it with the noxious fumes, of course. Ready to go. He's got 30% CDR, gonna be dashing all over the place. Oh no.
This is bad for sBennyQ. He does make it into the wall and is able to start repositioning. Osath dashes in, but taunt just out of range. Benny able to survive that one by the skin of his teeth. And now DayToRemeber might be a bit overcommitted, has to Oxform back through, because molluskk can fight multiple members by himself. Say hello to the skewer. It's here to bring the pain.
molluskk just covering one option. DayToRemeber gonna go back through the tower, blinks before the tower shot hits him, and should be able to burn bird form through this tier 2, or just gonna sack himself for the wave. Oh, bird form up. DayToRemeber out of there. Oh, less of that.
Oh!
Now that is unlucky.
That really, it's just unfortunate. I think he made it out of that 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean?
No.
But he did correctly try to play around the way he built. Trying to get what sustain up that he could on the dive, playing towards his out. Just that Gamma still had the blink available and was able to cut him down. Sops is in a whole lot of trouble there in the middle lane, though. Gets caught out by Bayroneri, but RussianPapi, these bombs are swinging. Gets slowed by the dash and controlled. Good peel from Osath to get his team out of there.
All right, I was kind of trolling at first, but that did do a lot of damage from RussianPapi.
Yeah.
He actually popped him.
I mean, he's level 14.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And it has the E-Staff now, so that extra bit of protection. And now, because he knows that Dishonored is going to definitely be going for the auto-attack build, picks up the upgraded shell. Now
I don't know that he is. He's going Genjis instead of the Shoguns.
Oh, yeah, that's a mistake. But he can always go for both, right? There's a lot of magical damage on the other side between RussianPapi and Sops, so he can go for both.
That's a good point. He always can come back around and still get the Shogun's Kasari to make sure the attack speed builds here. But then, you're not getting your Toxic Blade at the optimal point, and so I can't imagine he'd be willing to skip out on the Toxic Blade next.
Well, maybe we rush the Toxic Blade here, because we got to have that.
For what it's worth, I don't hate it into this set, right? I mean,
it's a lot better here than it was in the last game,
yes,
for sure.
I definitely, and into Gamma to interrupt the...
To be fair, it can't be worse
than it was last game.
Correct.
Okay, I got you. Consider what you just put down picked up.
What I was just selling bot?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I got you, man. Instead, this game has slowed down a little bit. I mean, Hype Unit's still in control, about a 3,000 gold lead, but Exilium have hung on, I would say, much better than they did in game number 1. Experience still a problem. 3,700 in 14 minutes is not going to be easy to overcome, but Exilium are right there with a decent draft here. They've got this Thoth, this Athena they can play around late game. The Amaterasu rotating in, maybe not built the way you'd love, but certainly still going to have the aura and the dazzling offensive and all the tools. They've got a chance here unless this fight goes bad for them. molluskk was the initial start. Final Judgment Bayroneri wasn't enough. He makes it back out somehow, but DayToRemeber rotating over with the Wukong gets interrupted, forced into the beads. sBennyQ finds Kyrmi, but the Arc Form settles it.
Ooh, and Argus doesn't land for that knockup. Now DayToRemeber is going to say, yeah, I'm still down to take this fight. Look at the damage my man is putting out. That's an easy double for the Wukong ADC.
And makes it 3-for-1. This is actually a huge fight for Exilium. They get the knockup onto Gamma and force him out as well. but it looks like they don't feel comfortable coming over towards this Fury. They don't have that typical Hunter sustained damage to shred these objectives the way they normally would, again, because of the Sun Wukong ADC.
Osath does have Kingslayer, but that's a lot of damage through the wall. Gonna need that Bloodforge shield, but he can't get it in time. Osath with those block stacks comes up huge.
Gamma willing to commit, though, for this kill, and he gets it. But now he has to deal with these auto attacks from Dishonored, and I don't know how he can. Gets pulled back in. That's all Dishonored. Gets the killing spree and a deicide for Exilium.
Perfect play by Bayroneri that fight. I mean, he is really playing well on this Thoth. I like the Venenu build, the do more into Messenger's
That's
mask.
right, baby.
I like it more on the Thoth than other characters because Thoth has that built-in flat pen because of the passive, so you can kind of afford to delay your pen a little bit more than you can on most characters. And
this is not a tanky composition he's going into, remember.
It sure isn't.
So he doesn't need... I think the Messenger mask is this is the game.
This is the game.
This is perfect for it.
Yeah, I think it's working well.
Not to say that Venenu's games weren't the game. I don't want to have said that. That doesn't mean I just don't want to have said it, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah,
That doesn't mean I don't think it.
I think it can be good.
Yeah.
I still don't think this is optimal, but if it's going to be good anywhere, it's this exact scenario.
Yes, and how often are you in this?
Hopefully very rarely.
He does have this Divine Ruin, though, right after. It's largely becoming my favorite tune item for mages. Obviously, you want an Ob Shard, but it just feels like Divine Ruin's good in so many spots. Dishonored survives the gank. That leaves the rest of the team a bit isolated here on the left-hand side, so they have to fall back.
A couple ultimates used to try and kill him. Kyrmi and Bayroneri both dropping their ults, but Gamma picks up a beads at level 12, gets that CC immunity, and decides that, listen, man, you know what this composition's lacking? Actually, John Finch, just close your eyes real quick.
Gotcha.
Hold on, you won't have the chance.
Yeah, I got to cast the Spite. Sops is in some trouble. That's a big taunt, though, from Gamma. He's had a great game on this Erlang Shen. That stops everything in its tracks. Gamma with some great peel for the Erlang Shen.
Okay,
I did that with the eyes closed.
That was impressive. Okay, close your eyes for real this time. All right, imagine this team composition.
Gotcha.
Agni,
That's good.
Set,
We love that.
Hera,
She's better.
Erlang Shen,
Okay, we like Erlang.
Chernobog.
All right, but who's tanking for us?
Don't worry about that, okay?
Okay, gotcha.
What is this team lacking more than anything in the entire world?
Beads for the Erlang?
No, it's it's damage, John Finch. It's damage.
Right,
And so that's
they
why
need more
Gamma.
damage.
And so that's why Gamma is building into a Stonecutting Sword.
But this is a good blink taunt in to try and catch the Primal Fury. Exilium managed to secure it. That might have been DayToRemeber with the cudgel. Into the wall goes sBennyQ. He's going to have to buy a whole lot of time and manage to find a pretty nice dash. But the Ox Form knock-up sets up Kyrmi for a kill. Stun onto Gamma as well. Bayroneri finds that one. 3-up for Exilium and the Fury. That's a sick fight.
They're looking good, man. Wukong ADC stays undefeated.
Dude.
Around these parts. It is 2-0 so far. And there would be some justice in the world if Agni solo goes winless, just saying.
That would be some justice. I'm obviously still very much in this game. And as you eloquently put it by making me close my eyes, they have plenty of damage if they're trying to shut down what Exilium's doing. But the problem that they're going to run into is that the only thing this composition is missing is the sustained Hunter damage from Exilium. They've got everything else going for them in this comp.
They really do. They've got good AoE, they've got great long-range poke, they've got solid CC, all-in potential. They've got it, man. And mobility on top of it all. Every single one of these characters with a mobility option. It's difficult for a character like Hera to handle that because her damage is it's hard to confirm, especially on the 1. The 2 is a little bit easier, but it's still a very slow projectile to start and once it fires. And then you're not going to be doing a whole lot of damage from a distance with Hera. So I think a composition like this actually gives Sops a lot of problems.
They're going to need more from molluskk, though. He was that first pick value. Remember, for hype unit, he's 1, 3, and 2 so far. Now, normally your set's in the oven during this time and is rotating over fully baked, but instead, molluskk has been trying to be relevant the entire game, so he might need a little bit more time before he's able to fully swing. Gamma baits out quite a few abilities here in the middle lane, and it's Kyrmi that looks like he's the one that just lost a fight. He's at half HP.
But that was a couple ultimates used by the boys of hype unit. I mean, Argus on the field, so that means he's not going on cooldown quite yet, and Gamma had to use the beads and ult once again. The beads pickup makes more sense to me now, for sure, with the Stone-Cutting Sword. Because he's a damage dealer with this build, for the most part.
They have 5 mostly damage dealers at this point, man. I mean, yes, RussianPapi has the breastplate, but you'd build breastplate on mid-mages a lot of the time anyway. This is a team that's kind of trusting they'll be able to do more damage before you'll be able to control them in these fights. They don't really need anyone that's particularly tanky. There's a Relic Dagger for Gamma. That's going to add some nice HP. But this is a Pyromancer going down for Exilium, and no one really around to defend.
Exilium, this is going to put their lead up above that 3K mark, and XP pretty solidly in their favor as well.
Are you talking to Mark there?
No.
My name is John.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah,
3K mark is like there's a mark at 3K and
Oh,
it surpassed it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I cannot imagine you as a mark.
Yeah, me neither. That doesn't sound like my kind of name. Sops melts yet again. Kyrmi finds him in the jungle. Dishonored buying time and right. And now in comes the defender of Olympus. molluskk, even with a nice skewer, isn't able to do enough damage. And there's plenty of Team Exilium waiting in the wings. DayToRemeber blinks into the Master's Will and the knockup to follow up. But now Benny rotates over.
Already about half HP. That was Bayroneri. Put him down to
Master's Will.
Yeah, that was strong right there.
You could say so.
Listen, man, it looked a lot worse than it was because he hit the tank Agni.
That's right. If that had been onto Sops, who they'd already successfully killed, or Benny, they'd have been afraid. sBennyQ does have the bead, so he can try and fight Kyrmi, but a two-man taunt from Osath shuts all that nonsense down. Looks like a frenzy was popped there as well. Couldn't have been, as molluskk tries to reposition. It certainly was. They can't quite lock him down.
It's a little bit too quick for molluskk. No Kingslayer, though, and
Dishonored auto.
got it. Even without the Toxic Blade this game, for what it's worth. Mantle of Discord. A little less spicy, but
I like
a
that
lot
better. Yep. Kyrmi in some trouble. Has to use the last breath to buy himself some time. Gets the
That was
Privilege
nice.
proc as well. Pretty good to try and get himself to reposition. Bayroneri can't find the root. Can't find the Hieroglyphic Assault either,
Go
so
get him.
Gamma's still alive for now. Ryan confident that Gamma will be falling here shortly, but the Hieroglyphic Assault
Okay.
still not landing. Osath comes
take
in
those.
and finds the kill, and that was not a KS unless you meant secure. They needed the help.
Yeah, that was you don't earn those anymore. I mean, at some point you have to just be like, just take it, man. I mean, I don't even want it anymore. Cost the blink for Osath, but Exilium in heavy control.
Those are my least favorite kind of blinks, though. I don't know what out Gamma was playing to.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it is hard to hit you because you're just running around randomly with extra movement speed. But, I mean, it's also not getting you very much.
Yeah, I agree. You know what name I could see you having, by the way? I've been thinking about
Other than
this.
Mark?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not Mark.
Okay, I'm listening.
I could see you as a Greg.
No, that's not me.
Yeah. If you, like, liked fun a little bit less, like, let's say instead of liking anime,
Right.
you liked spreadsheets.
Dude, I was going to say, like, taxes or something. We were on
Yeah.
the same wavelength with
Yeah,
that.
you could be a Greg if
Yeah.
that's the way you wanted to be.
Do you think I could pull off a really weird name like Lysander or something like that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if you're
do.
just saying that or...
No, I actually do.
Okay.
I actually feel that way.
You know what? I'm going to take that as the compliment that it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Exilium hold on to really their first lead of the set right now, up about 6,000 gold, leading 18-8 in the kills. But because of their track record coming in, I don't know, I still don't feel like they've got this one. The thing is that everything is stacked in their favor, right? Hype units comps not particularly great or built particularly great, and Exilium are holding on to not just a good comp, but a good lead as well. I sold myself. I favor Exilium now.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what happened, but I sold myself in the middle. That was crazy.
you just blacked out and convinced yourself of something else. Hey, man, that's big Greg energy right there.
That's Lysander energy. Yeah,
I guess so.
being able to convince yourself.
I
This
could also
skill
see you
theory.
as an Eric.
Yeah, I could see Eric. But that's just because Eric was my favorite character on Boy Meets World, and I liked him a lot.
I
Will
was almost-
Friedle, man, what happened to him?
Yeah, that is true. What did happen? I was almost like Eric.
Really? You could easily have been an Eric. He had that movie where he dated the president's daughter, and it's been off a cliff since then. Like, just
Well, it's the
careening
president's
into
daughter,
the abyss,
man.
you know? Yeah, I guess you just can't do that and then bounce back from it. He just gets typecast as Dishonored, lives through all the bursts, and now suddenly Osath here with Defender of Olympus. Doesn't find the stun on the RussianPapi, but way low in the backline is Sops, but he immunes the Cudgel and the Final Judgment with that Aegis. Everything he gets from then is gravy. That's huge that Sops lived this long. RussianPapi finds a stun, but that's about all as molluskk goes to the backline.
And DayToRemeber gets his one-on-one time with the Soul later. Bayroneri takes down molluskk, but he is in some trouble. Big brawl right there, and it looks like Bayroneri's actually escaped.
Man, I was so smart to favor Exilium 6K up with a better draft. I'm nuts for that, man, as sBennyQ now in some trouble as well. Kyrmi gets him, and just RussianPapi and Gamma left. And surely Exilium can get some damage done on the map here now. They do not have a hunter. This is where they're going to struggle. But maybe they can take down this tier 2. The one in left is real low.
I mean, this is how your sieging has to happen if you're Exilium's composition.
Right.
You need to have killed everybody on the other team, and that has been the case. Though RussianPapi surviving is a big deal because he can dash a whole bunch of times really quickly because he has so much CDR, and then bomb you for 200.
What's this take you're having? CDR is good on Agni. You get your bombs up more often. What is this that you're doing?
How do you feel about Voidstone Agni?
That I don't like as much.
Right. How about Mantle of Discord Agni?
Don't like that as much either.
Right. Now, you can get a lot of CDR on Agni with the power tap.
Yes, you sure can.
That is not necessarily where Papi has found these items. Now, you could, because Eastaff and Voidstone have power, so they will be under that tab, but not if you sort by numbers of power. They will not be super low on that list, or high.
You know what I do like
is
is like Spear the Magus. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
Especially when you have another magical damage dealer right there. That'd be good.
I do like that.
That would be good.
But Voidstone's kind of like that. You know what I mean? In that it shreds their protection so my team can do more magical damage.
Yes, if I am next to them.
Right. And you have tankiness, so you can be. That's the only way you're going to get your mantle proc. Right?
Very
is
true.
if you're nearby.
And now we're maxed on CDR, so that's good.
That is. This game has slowed down a bit. I mean, again, they're not going to be able to siege. It's not going to be a tidal wave when they're sieging. You know, it's going to be a slow whittling process. Gently, the waves lapping at the beach because they just don't have that part of this team comp. And like you said, if you get a deicide, that won't matter so much. You can push through relatively well. But if it's going to be these slow team fights like what we've seen here so far, it's going to be a real uphill battle for Exilium.
This could have been a fire giant for Exilium. They just didn't have the information that Hype Unit weren't ready to defend it. They sent DayToRemeber over to this side of the map, in the long lane where he plays this god.
I like the Heartseeker for him, though.
Beast. He's gonna slam.
He really is, yeah. SBennyQ does not, I think SBennyQ correctly does not want to fight this.
He does have crit. I don't know. Maybe SBennyQ can win this. How lucky is he? That's the question.
Like, right, how well is he going to be rolling on these crits? Cudgel already lands, Oxform to knock him up.
Look at this.
That's a ton of damage coming out, but the crits are not a bad response. Benny might have actually been able to win this fight here, but now that Day is taken to the sky, there's just no way. Trying to make up for it here is molluskk, looking for the turnaround kill, but only gets the one on a Day. Kyrmi finds the return to make it 2 for 1.
That's certainly a trade that Exilium are happy with, but SBennyQ, or rather DayToRemeber, is a lot of their effective damage so far, so they will miss it in these team fights. In fact, he is their top player damage on the Wukong ADC.
He's been popping off, man. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, at this point, they're going to have to rely on Bayroneri to kind of be that damage for them. Or they could continue to kind of tread water. It looks like they don't want to pull any objectives without Day up, even with the number advantage. They're giving a lot of time for Hype Unit to farm up these builds to the point where it might not matter how rough the curves were.
It's true. I mean, they already have a lot of level 20s, about to be another one in molluskk once he respawns and farms up a little bit. So XP differential no longer a real factor in this game. I mean, you see 2 people, 5 items in RussianPapi and Gamma. SBennyQ's nearly done with the build.
But this is the thing. If you get to this point with this draft, and you you get a 3 for 1 or 2 for 1, you still don't feel comfortable pushing FG or taking down towers, what do you need to feel comfortable?
Yeah, you basically need to 4 for 1 them or something along those lines.
It's
and that
just
is
such a high barrier.
Right, and that's why drafts like this are difficult to execute. Because, I mean, you look at Hype Unit's draft, it's also not inspiring. However, if they 2 for 1 you, they can push as long as SBennyQ or Gamma survives. You really need, or probably as long as those 2 are the surviving members at least, they're going to be able to push almost certainly.
This Oni Fury should go down for Exilium. Hype Unit don't seem particularly interested in coming out and contesting this one. And we talked a lot about how Exilium are going to struggle at sieging, but Hype Unit, I mean, how are they going to do on the defense? They don't have a typical frontliner, but Agni feels great when you're trying to defend. This set can get to the backline when things get hectic as well. I feel like it's not going to be too bad for him.
Yeah, I don't know, because a lot of what makes Agni really hard to siege against is that his poke damage is high.
You saying he's not going to do enough damage?
Correct.
He's 3rd on the charts, top on his team. I don't know what you're talking about.
That is true.
That
That
is
is
in some trouble.
This is the definition of quantity over quality as far as damage numbers are concerned.
Fake solo lane damage that you don't care too much about.
Oh,
Gamma
yeah.
looks for a taunt onto Kyrmi, but the bombs are coming through from RussianPapi right on top to try and
Big
dissuade
stun.
him. A big stun that does come out indeed, and Gamma now looking for the full retreat. As Exilium hang on in that little scuffle. They didn't really use much at all, actually.
No, they really did not. I mean, Gamma had to use beads. 4 ultimates used by Hype Unit, though RussianPapi's doesn't really count. So 3 in that little corridor. Same can be said for Exilium, but relics intact for all those Exilium members.
You know, without the Hunter, maybe this would have been the game to go the attack speed build for the Ama, dude.
You're not wrong.
Get some of that sustained DPS.
And though it isn't a coincidence, I don't think, that Dishonored is 5-1-9 with this build.
Dishonored in some trouble. He's been stunned. Noxious Fumes and Flame Wave, but Exilium are tired of sitting on their hands. They wanted to wait until it was the enhanced Fire Giant before they started that up. Gamma pulled back in. Is getting some help from RussianPapi, but he's low already. But so is RussianPapi. They're going to need some backup for him. Kyrmi goes right towards the Agni. DayToRemeber finds Gamma as well, but Dishonored has to retreat. He's incredibly low on the backside. A 2-for-0 for Exilium. This is their fight.
Molluskk is so low. Final Judgment doesn't land, though, from Bayroneri. And Sops is going to be able to put out some pretty decent damage right here.
In fact, Molluskk
That gave him a
finds Kyrmi
shield.
and gets back out with that Bloodford shield. You're exactly
That
right.
must have been a clone that hit him. He's got clones still standing there underneath that tier 2 tower. Kyrmi must have walked into one.
And you certainly can still. It's a bit deceptive. They are hard to see in big team fights.
I agree.
I don't think I hold any of that against them at all. As sBennyQ now quite low. Aegis buys him time. He's going to hide inside the Phoenix. Exilium considering pushing with the 4v3.
We've got Oni waves, but it seems like that ship has already sailed. This is the problem with the comp. Can't do it. Got to get more than just 2 kills. I mean, they 2 for 1 really was 2 for nothing until Kyrmi had an unfortunate spill. But even still, I think even if they had Kyrmi, that's still not an easy siege. She was too weak anyways.
This makes the job so much more difficult. You kind of pay for an easier early game, you know, with this Sun Wukong in that long lane by having a harder late game balanced in that way, I suppose. And Hype Unit have done their part to not make this easy for them at all. Gamma, you know, despite some of our chirping earlier on, is absorbing a ton of damage. He's gone full tank now. He's sold a lot of these earlier items. It's Mantle, it's Gauntlet of Thieves, it's Oni Hunters, it's Reinforced Greaves, and Relic Dagger. He is going to be able to absorb a lot of damage despite what that early game might have said.
Yeah, I still think the stone cutting is worthless in the build, but everything else is good.
RussianPapi gets caught out, has to dash, but now Tiger's stunned. He's absorbing a lot of damage. It'd be hard to say anything different as he somehow still clings to life, gets the dash off. Kyrmi stunned as well, can't quite get it. In fact, Kyrmi gets baited, trying to take down a low HP RussianPapi. You're chasing the tank there, Kyrmi. Can't be doing that.
DayToRemeber blinks in, looks for sBennyQ. Doesn't quite have the damage and doesn't get up into the somersault cloud. RussianPapi on the Agni solo just changed the game for Hype Unit.
Osath is quite low. He's jumping around knowing he can't make it out of this one. Killing spree for Molluskk. They still have a lot of towers to chew through. I don't know if this is necessarily game for Hype Unit, but that's a huge fight for them. 4 for 0, and they're not going to have any issues getting FG and pushing.
I mean, Dishonored is here in full HP. Ultimate's going to be up soon. Someone's got to take care of him, and it looks like molluskk will set himself to the task of zoning Dishonored away. But
I don't know why it's not RussianPapi. You know, the Agni tank should be the one up there. Fine. It'll be the Fire Giant instead that he puts his focus onto. Hype Unit grab FG for all 5 members, and Dishonored cannot dissuade them.
Yeah, that happened. I mean, maybe if RussianPapi is, I don't know, Osiris, Exilium don't commit that much and understand they can't kill him. But they see Agni, they think, we can kill that guy.
Yep.
Even though you've been playing against it for 30 minutes, those natural instincts do kind of take over at some point, and they bait themselves into a horrendously bad fight.
He's got Oni Hunter's garb now, the Breastplate of Valor, and the Mantle of Discord. You obviously do want to switch over to the Pen Boots to make sure you're still doing relevant damage at this point, so I'm right there with RussianPapi on that one. But, and you don't want to be overcapped, you know, on your CDR. So,
Sure.
I mean, this all just tracks. But yeah, man, he's a real tank at this point. Kinda. So you gotta watch out.
Hit a 4-man stun that did no damage, but 4-man stuns are good no matter how much damage
Yes.
they're doing, right?
They have inherent value. Now we shall follow along with Hype Unit Siege, and as we've covered, Their siege is strong. Now, the thing for Exilium is that they still have a Thoth on defense, which is pretty good.
Yes.
This won't be the easiest task for Hype.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, this is going to be a difficult siege still for Hype Unit, but if you can take Bayroneri out of these engagements, it becomes easy mode, right? Because they don't have any long-range poke at all. They have to all in you, and that's not going to be easy for them.
RussianPapi finds a 2-minute stun, and this is all in service of zoning, as your Soul Laner has to do for your team, while the rest of the squad grabs the tier 2 tower and left. And it works perfectly in that regard. RussianPapi keeps them at bay, and Hype Unit find a tier 2, and suddenly that gold lead starting to shrink more and more. Exilium gonna have a difficult task ahead of them as Osath blinks in for a 2-man taunt. RussianPapi gets back out of there with the beads and dashes away. Here comes the Hera ultimate from sops as well to start pushing in. Final Judgment doesn't find much, but molluskk falls early thanks to Kyrmi.
That was nicely done. I mean, that was a little bit of a bad beads, I'd say, by molluskk. That blinked on from Osath. Think about the composition from Exilium. If Bayroneri isn't there to follow up, who can hit you from that range?
Gamma's trying to stick to Bayroneri, though. They know he's the most critical target at this point to take out. DayToRemeber falls in right to sBennyQ's pressure. The rest of Exilium have to run, but Benny dives right to Bayroneri. That's a perfect ultimate from him to set up for a double kill. Rejoins with the rest of the squad. They don't have molluskk, but I don't know how much they need him. I mean, yeah, 3-man taunt, but who's going to follow up at this point? With all the damage dealers dead, Hype Unit can just start shredding this Phoenix.
Great crits coming from sBennyQ. RussianPapi gonna put himself on the board. And Finch, that might just be game. I mean, these are low health bars, but it's a lot of damage.
Yeah, and it's not a lot of damage on the other side between Dishonored and Osath. I don't think they have to worry about that at all. They do start moving into the Titan room. molluskk has watched this entire thing through black and white. He's watched his team move into the Titan room. Exilium were up so much earlier on in this game on the back of DayToRemeber's son Wukong, but could it all come crumbling down here? Gamma gets Dishonored. That's a deicide in the game for Hype Unit, and coincidentally the set.
Man, brutal for the Wukong ADC, man. F in the chat, the undefeated record now gone, unfortunately.
Tarnished.
But now, Agni solo, undefeated.
But I do want to say that the record for DayToRemeber's Sun Wukong popping is untarnished.
Correct.
It has popped in all 3 games.
I can't disagree with you there, but it also completely changes the way your team composition works and puts you in an inherent disadvantage.
It makes a point where if you get a 3-for-1 in the late game, that's still not enough for your team to be able to get FG or be able to push those towers or do anything that helps you win the game until eventually Exilium or Hype Unit's able to win a fight and take the game.
But that's just unlucky. Nothing we can do about that. Nicely done by Hype Unit. It's a must-win game, and honestly, that game is important potentially in plus-minus as well.
Exactly.
Depending on the standings and how these last weeks go for Armada and Sanguine. And I believe those two play each other next week.
I think so,
So
too.
that, Armada and Sanguine, I mean. So that's going to be huge. Hype Unit do everything they can to set themselves up for a potential land success.
By coming in and grabbing the 2-0, it does not really matter how it looks. What matters is that they have that 2-0 in the column and yet another win. Hype Unit very much still in the conversation for being the ones that join us here at LAN. But you got to keep your head on a swivel for Sanguine as well as for the other teams in that region. Armada, the other one that you have to keep your eye out on. But North America is not done yet. We got one more set coming to you after this.